Okay, now next assignment, that one is create an application for bill payment record using AngularJS. Okay, that one is AngularJS. With the help of AngularJS, we need to develop accounting bill payment record. This is simply the code. That one is we already knows AngularJS, which one is run under the client side. That's why it's normally a HTML file. It contains AngularJS code, and it executes the with the help of only running that HTML file with the JavaScript file. That one is a .js file, that is a JavaScript. We will revise the concept related to AngularJS first. It's about the basic concept. It's simply when we write the code, that one is script, that one is adding the AngularJS, then next, that one is simply the body tag. Whenever the ng app mentioned, means that from that tag the actual AngularJS code is started, and then you need to mention that app name with the ng app, and that one is mentioned that AngularJS app name. And then if we mention the ng controller, then actual that controller which one is defined under the JavaScript code, it is automatically called. This is simply the specify a controller using ng controller. When we define a controller, we need to define the module. Create a module for the my ng app, that one is app name, and then this is a module contains a controller. Create a controller with a particular contact with the controller name, that one is my controller, and then you define your function under the script, and it reflects this information with your HTML tag. Like here, attach a property to a scope, that one is scope.message is equal to hello world, and it's automatically changed this message attribute value as a hello world, or print the message as a value as a hello world. This is actually the use of controller, which one is controls the HTML, or it may be the HTML tags values. Then we will understand this code, how exact it work. Then simply HTML, then head contains simply the AngularJS.minijs file. This is online. It needs a internet. Without that, it's not run. If internet is not available, you just use angular.mini.js file. This file is available on your particular folder where exact cart.html is available. If it is a internet is not available, then it's simply the body contains a head, that means heading with the shopping cart example. Then div tag, it's starting with the AngularJS app. Angular ng app mention the particular AngularJS app name, that is my app. Then ng controller, that one is mention the controller name as a cart form. Now it's simply the particular table contains all HTML data. It's simply the rows with the description, quantity and cost, and this is the heading about the particular table. Then rows, it's simply the mentioning with the text box with a particular description about that term, quantity about that term, and cost about that term. Then ng repeat, which one is used to repeat the value. We already understand this up to the whatever the values are there, that means ng repeat is used to repeat it. That one is with the help of item is object for the cart.atoms array, right? That one is we will understand with the help of script code. Then when we run this file, it shows it with the like this, right? This is simply the shopping cart description with the this is a table with the description, quantity and cost, and the total. Then this is simply the text box as a input. We will check the code. This is simply the table. Then this is simply the with the help of the data with the input with the text box, and this is formula which one is prints total cost. Okay, then Next, whenever you click on a particular delete button, or it may be the add atom, it's automatically call this function, remove atom with a particular index and the add item with a particular function. These are the two functions. Whenever we click on a particular button, as then it calls this function, which one is defined under the JavaScript. Okay, then it's simply the data which one is mentions the total cost of a particular items. That one is simply the whenever the total cost is calculated, then total function is called. Then after whenever we mention ng app and ng controller, it's automatically goes the control to the script. Then here we call a one JavaScript file, that is card.js. It's mentioned with another file and we call it under the HTML, that is card.js. It contains a module. That module, that one is attached with my app as a AngularJS app. Then we create a controller with the app.controller. Then the controller name is a card form, means it's again controls the card form of a HTML. It controls the card form. Then we call a function. This is, we already understand, this is a by default function with a passing a object as a scope object. That one is also by default. Then with the help of scope object, we call a particular scope.card and it's mentioned with the items as an array. It's items as an array with the quantity, description and cost. Then this is again another process. That one is another function, which one is scope.add item. Whenever we calls click on the add atom button, it's automatically run the add atom, means ng click is again the directory use, which one is help to call this function. When we click on add item, it's bind with the this function with the ng click. Then it's automatically come here as a add item. Then function is called, that one is a scope dot cart dot items, that one is array dot push. That one is whatever you want to add. It's add push, means when we want to add the item, it's run the push function. Okay, that one is simply the we will understand the concept about the push and slice. ng requires the relative in AngularJS. That one is a required attribute. Adding and removing the form list using the push and splice in AngularJS. These are the function to add the item with the push function and delete the item with the splice function. Then push with these three values of array, that means quantity, description and cost. That's why why we use this is the actual basic object under the function scope. Then again cart is object which one is access items array, right? That one is we apply the push function on atoms array with the accessing the cart as an object under the controller. Then it copy the add the item under the page, and we will put the value. When we put the quantity, it's automatically comes under the quantity and it print on a particular browser, and this values passes to the particular HTML data, right? HTML data, that one is item dot description, item dot quantity, item dot cost. Why it mentioning the item? Because of here item refer the cart dot items array. Item refers the cart dot items array, right? And this cart is again the object of a item, that items array. That one is simply the calling the particular array when we want to add something with the push function. Then again, if we want to remove, when we click on a delete button, it calls a ng.click, which one is bind with this function. That one is a remove item and passes the index, whatever the index is. Okay, index means a particular, if we click on a particular row, that one is as a delete, it's send that index to the particular function. And it's simply that remove with a splice function. Then scope dot remove item is a function that one is a passes with a particular object that is an index. Then scope dot card dot items dot from this array we delete which record, that is index which one is we selected, and this one shows that one record, that is a splice function which one is delete that given indexed row. Okay, that one is the process of a remove item. This is process of add item. This is simply the cart adding the items under the array. That one is quantity, description and cost. If we delete this, then it not showing this scenario. Okay, that's why it's important under the controller. And then when we call the automatically call the total function, that one is simply the when we add the item as a, then quantity is 2, then cost is a 20, it's automatically calculate this as a 40. Why? Because of it automatically calculate that is item dot quantity into item dot cost, and it prints a currency, that one is in a rs, right? With the help of this row it prints a value of 40 here, right? And it mentions the rs. And total, then again it calls it prints that value, and then again it's called this total function, and it comes here, and it checks with run with the for loop and checks atoms array, right? And it runs it's access the atom rows with the atom objectives with the atom dot quantity, atom dot cost, multiplication of that, and it's copy into the total variable 0 plus whatever the value is, and that's why the output of this is again a 40. If I add the atom, that one is mentioning with the bb, with quantity is 3 and price is again a 10, it's automatically mentioned the subtotal is a 30 and whole total main total is a 70. Okay, with the help of this is actual the main total, and this is actual the subtotal. Okay, this is actual the process it's executed. This is actual the AngularJS code, and directories which one is used to connect that attributes like ng model, that one is item dot quantity connect with this type as a number, right? Whenever we put the item type number or the particular item quantity, it's automatically connect with this input box with the ng model as item dot quantity. Then why it mentioning as item dot description like that? Because of we mention these values under the array, that is atoms, and we access that array values like array attributes with the help of object, that is item dot description, item dot quantity, item dot cost. Okay, whenever we click on the add item, it's ng repeat execute the all process. Okay, that is the actual the ng repeat process. Then this is simply the process of Angular JS with the help of the controller, right? It runs the code. Okay,